Hey everybody, Matt Weiner for Fade In, and on today's video, I'm going to show you how to use my custom GPT to analyze your screenplay the right way. So here we are in the ChatGPT user interface. I have created a custom GPT that when I click on will show you Matthew Scott Weiner coverage, GPT by me. And what this is modern reader expectation coverage and analysis. This is available in the link below. Click it, open it up, save it in ChatGPT, and you can use it for free. I'm not going to go into how I created the GPT, but I did ensure privacy settings were on and that whatever you put into this GPT does not go out into the world and improve the model or anything like that. I created it so that it would not generate any substantive AI. So no generative AI. It is purely analytical and evidence-based. So when you get into it, type begin. First thing it'll do is ask you which evaluation mode you want to use. The reason there are two here is because there's a difference between mimicking human coverage and evidence-based coverage. When it's evidence-based, the computer is looking at your screenplay and picking things out to place into those subjects. If it sees it, it gives you credit for it. If it doesn't see it, then it doesn't give you credit for it. For competition, Nicholl is different than Page, is different than Austin, etc. So I've built into each competition coverage rubric the biases of those competitions. So based on the past 5 years of quarterfinalists, semifinalists, finalists, what's in the public domain, what's out and available, what each competition says about how they score things, all of that was put into the computer to create human style coverage for those specific competitions. You can see at the very end here, it says conservative. I'm mostly interested in my weaknesses because that's what I need to address before I send it out for human coverage or before I send it out for competition, for advancement in competition. And I'd rather it be conservative because as you'll see after this, when I go into the human coverage that I've gotten for Hollow Men, it's extremely subjective. You can get a reader who loves it. You can get a reader who hates it. You never know who you're going to get. By setting all of these rules to conservative, you're going to still hit the readers who love it. They're still going to love it, but you're going to bring in more readers who had issues with it because you've addressed concerns that they may have had. So let's do this thing. I'm going to start with evidence-based coverage. I built in a ownership yes or no question here as a threshold question. Do you have the rights to this material or are you permitted to use the material? If you say no, then it'll say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But I put it in there as a safeguard just to protect anybody's interests. Now it wants the specifics so that it can take them and create a big sandbox to play in and then put all the chunks that we created in the last video into that sandbox in order, and it allows it to link it together, keep it on track, and it also sets the genre expectations because I have a genre matrix built into the GPT where if it's a horror film, it's going to look for different things than it will if it's a romantic comedy or a war film or a thriller. Hollow Men, if you hit shift return, you'll go to the next line instead of just sending the prompt up. So shift return, war, shift return, it's 105 pages. Now it's asking me to put a beat sheet if I have a beat sheet in there. I've built in the option for you to write your own beat sheet and upload it as a cross-reference for the computer to read your material and see if it tracks along with what you think your inciting incident is, what you think your midpoint is. I am going to skip this because you don't have the luxury of sending your beat sheet into competition or into coverage. So I don't want to mimic that, but I want to make it available for you if you want to put that in there. Let's start uploading Hollow Men. It asks you to do it like this. Chunk number 1 of 4, shift return, page 001 to 030. Chunk received, upload chunk 2. That's a pain in the butt to put all that in. So this also works. 2 of 4, page 26 to 60. Still received it. So you don't have to do it exactly. If you go too far away from what it asks you to do, though, it will prompt you to re-upload it with the proper prompt, and that's to keep it from getting confused about where the chunks go. We want them in order. That's why we chunked it, right? 3 of 4 pages, 56 to 90. And now it knows that this is going to be our last chunk. 4 of 4, page 86 to 105. It's going to ask you if you want to see the map. This is the internal evidence map that it created that is evidence-based. It goes, here's the thing and here's the page number. Thing, page number, thing, page number. You can see it if you want to. I don't want to see it. I want to save those tokens for the conversation. So I'm just going to say proceed. Maybe if I uploaded my own beat sheet, I would want to, but I don't. So now it's going to ask, coverage. Let's generate the entire coverage. Sure, let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay. In my conservative Hollow Men coverage, I got a pass. I got a 68. Story and structure, 7. Character and voice, 7. Concept originality, you can read all these. Presentation, marketability. Why so low? Let's see why. It has the strengths. Like I said, more interested in the weaknesses. Here's why. First, my hook was delayed. Early pages introduced numerous soldiers with slang-heavy chatter before a clear POV or emotional anchor emerges. By page 10, there's no distinct hook, triggering a structure of 7 as a cap. That is your, what I would call your gauntlet pass. The first 10 to 20 pages. If you don't hook the reader, a lot of competitions will cap you at a consider, even if the rest of your script is super strong. Ensemble overload. Many soldier names, blur voices, differentiation uneven, capping characters at 7. Same thing. Character overload is a consistent issue with spec scripts, and you get penalized for it, whether you think it's fair or not. This is a war film. Of course I'm going to have an ensemble, but it's still going to ding me for that. Dialogue get capped at 7 because of all of the jargon. That's fine. That's fine. The market niche, bleak subject matter. It's about a real life massacre. It limits the commercial reach, so it capped it at 6. Okay. Resolution capped at 7 because I have exposition and title cards at the end. So it thinks that the resolution is unsatisfying, that it's not closed. And so it's capping it at 7 for that. And then here are the reasons for the scoring. And the final verdict is a pass. Makes me sad. Let's see what a competition would have to say about this. Let's pick Big Break. Big Break. Still a pass, a 68. Makes me sad. Makes me sad. It has the strengths. It has the weaknesses. A lot of the same weaknesses. And the reasons for the scoring. Let's see what Nicholl would have to say. So another pass. We're getting a lot of the same notes here, but look at the overall score. 65 for Nicholl, 68 for Big Break. The evidence-based one was also a 68. Does that accurately reflect human coverage? Let's find out. Here is my coverage for Hollow Men. At the time it was called Falls the Shadow, that I got from Indie Film Hustle, bulletproof script coverage. Human coverage gave it a recommend with an 8, a 9, a 9, a 9, a 9, and 8. It was pretty effusive. 8.8 out of 10. And here, this is a hard script to critique and give notes on, which is the highest compliment I can give. The feedback here is all Bales and Fields are incredibly compelling. To reiterate, it could trim down and condense the cast of characters a bit, so it does note the ensemble nature of it, but it doesn't penalize it. Here's the same script run through level 1 of the gauntlet. 38 out of 100. That is harsh. That is a hard pass. And if you're familiar with Gauntlet, the way it is, level 1, you have 7 industry professionals read it, and a majority have to recommend it in order for it to go to level 2. Otherwise, it gets kicked out. And in level 1, they only read the first 20 pages. It's that hook that we're talking about, that Gauntlet pass. I have another script that made it all the way through level 3 of the Gauntlet, so I know it's possible. and I was excited to put this one in the gauntlet, and it got kicked out after level 1. But here's what I want to show you. Analyst 1, and I tell you who passed it and what their scores were. Gauntlet's an incredible resource for human coverage. It's very expensive. It takes a long time to get done, but the notes you get back are super actionable and consistent for the most part. But even within that, Analyst 1 passed, Analyst 2 passed. Look at Analyst 3. Recommend. Almost excellence all the way down the board. And then Analyst 4, not so much, right? That's what you're going to get with human coverage. Same script, same draft, 2 different readers. You have one who just absolutely loved the script. When you look at the overall comments here, Analyst 3, I am definitely recommending this one. There's a lot of skill on display and a compelling story at the center of the script. Everybody else passed. Let's go back into the GPT. If I address all of these notes, the guy who loved it is still going to love it. Indie Film Hustles, still going to love it. But the 6 other people who passed on it, maybe they like it more and they recommend it and it moves on. That's how coverage works. It's roll of the dice. So you want to make sure that your dice are loaded, to continue that metaphor. Here's how you can pinpoint that in the GPT. Highlight biggest weaknesses. Now we can have our conversation. Now that the coverage has been done, we can have our conversations. Weak hook, ensemble blur, dialogue heavy, resolution undelivered. I want to tackle these one at a time. Focus on hook. By page 10, there's no anchor. There's no clear POV character. No emotional stake set. And that affected the scoring. Here's where you have to be careful. I specifically told the computer not to generate any substance. But here it's asking if I would like it to propose concrete adjustments to the first 10 pages. The answer is no, I do not. Even though I have that baked into the GPT, it's up to you to keep it honest. So I'm not going to have it generate anything, but I will ask, provide comps that have strong hooks. I want to see who does it right. What films, what screenplays do it right? Saving Private Ryan, The Hurt Locker, Dunkirk, Inglourious Bastards, and Full Metal Jacket. They work because of immediate conflict or threat, strong sensory and emotional stakes, clear tone, and a focal point. But I'm going to challenge it. But isn't Saving Private Ryan an ensemble? What about character fatigue? Yes, it's an ensemble, but it avoids fatigue in its hook because it has a focused POV, Tom Hanks. The stakes are immediate, survival, and staggered introductions. And then it contrasts Hollow Men. I front load it with everybody, and then I diverge. It's just too, we're not consistent with who we're with, according to the coverage. I will link the script down below for you to take a look at if you're interested, and you tell me, did the computer get it right? Did it get it wrong? Would you like me to outline how Hollow Men could restructure the first 10 pages? No, I don't want you to do that. Analyze hook for Hurt Locker. Opening beat, middle of an IED disposal operation, POV clarity, Guy Pearce, immediate stakes, it could detonate at any moment, characterization through action, his calm professionalism defines him, thematic hook, his death by explosion, sorry, spoiler alert, establishes the unpredictability of war, ensemble management. Other team members are present, but they're not competing for attention. That's the first 10 pages. Remember, we're not talking about the whole script. We're talking about the first 10 pages. In Hollow Men, by contrast, first 10 pages leans on barracks banter and ensemble chatter. And it's going to keep asking to suggest this stuff. You got to keep ignoring it. I want to say one other thing. Map out Bales's arc and Fields's arc. It will give you a roadmap of your character's arcs, citing to specific pages. None of this is generative. This is all factual and evidence-based. A lot of the questions they ask, you can ignore. Just keep asking it questions. It'll keep answering them. I'm looking for weaknesses. Identify weaknesses in Bales's character arc. Abrupt escalation, limited interiority, redundant beats, denial phase undercut, arc endpoint weakly dramatized. So I could drill down into any one of these and ask it more follow-up questions. What I do is I keep a notepad next to me and I jot down thoughts that I have on how to address them. I'm not going to put them into the computer and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Because that blurs the line. I want to be in control. What I do is I'll do another pass of the script and then I'll run it through this matrix again and I'll see if my scores improve. If they don't, I haven't addressed them. Or I can compare the two drafts and have it look at both drafts and tell me which is stronger and why. If you use this tool in this way, you can systematically go through your material and strengthen it. That's the power of what we're dealing with here. So there you go. That is a custom created GPT for screenplay coverage that'll give you evidence-based coverage and mimic human coverage. Human coverage by its very nature is subjective, which is why I think that this is such a great tool. Get your script to a point where the computer likes it. Then send it to a human to see if humans like it. You're not going to cover everything in one pass. And I will make another video about coverage services that I recommend that I think are solid and consistent. A couple in particular who are individuals, people. They tell you who they are, they give you their credentials, and they give you samples of their work so you can judge for yourself if it's worth the money. Because it ain't free. If you found any of this useful or helpful or informative, like, subscribe, hit the bell, put in the comments anything you'd like me to add to the GPT or refine. I'm currently working on another model for use in brainstorming where you put your raw thoughts into the computer and it looks at what you've written and it places what you have into a beat sheet and then asks you targeted questions to help you think of how to fill out the beat sheet and how to hit all the plot points, how to have complete character arcs. If you're introducing your B story, your weakness, your flaw, your theme, all that stuff, it'll be baked in, hopefully, if it works, and not generate any suggestions. All it does is ask you questions so that you can generate the content. I hope to have that ready in the near future, and when I do, I will let you know. So make sure to hit the bell for updates on any future content. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you use this GPT and it helps you advance in competition. I can't wait to see if it works. So keep me posted. Put in the comments if you're using it, if it's improving your material, and as the competition season ramps up, let me know if it works and if you advance in competition or if you get yourself some recommends in human coverage. I would love to hear it. I love success stories. Can't wait to see all of that. And until next page, I'm Matt Weiner for Fade In, original screenplays read by the author.